Oh, what the heck is that? That looks pretty good. Everybody likes the movies. It's been around for over 100 years. Oh, what are we doing for a date night tonight, honey?
Well, Cassandra, we're going to the movies.
Sometimes when it comes to movies, there's some really memorable ones. One of these, for instance, would be Pixar's Cars. It's a freaking awesome movie. It's cars and they're alive. But that's a pretty good idea. I could make that idea. But I could use bikes instead. Well, that's the case with Manuel J. Garcia's 2018 Bikes. It's the same thing, but also not at all. Listen, I go to school for film, so I know a thing or two about how this shit works. Crack me open a LaCroix and I'll tell you all the finer details of what film aesthetics is being violated with this film. Movies don't need to make sense. They can still get produced. They don't need to have a storyline or characters that fall within logic. And I kind of like a bad boy movie, if I'm being honest. And a bad boy movie would be 2018's Bikes by Manuel J. Garcia. It just kind of came up. It just, I was just browsing the web. Just hanging out in the locker room of the internet. If I had seen this movie when I was a kid, it probably would have single-handedly inspired me to try to become a filmmaker. Just kidding, that was a lie. This movie is a train wreck. Or should I say bike wreck? Guys, that was a bike meme. There's gonna be a lot of those, please try to keep up. We're gonna go through all the things that make this movie the craziest acid trip you'll ever have. Implying that I've had one. At a superficial level, I suppose that you could say that this movie is like a ripoff of Cars, but then it takes the entire concept of these living modes of transportation and just goes in a fucking whole different direction. Other than the fact that the movie is named after the mode of transportation that they are, and then the main character is kind of an ass and he likes to race, it's like just a fever dream. Let's read the official synopsis of this film. Spokesville is the bike's land. You know how you name towns with Ville? Why don't we name Spoke? That's on a bike. Let's call it Spokesville. Speedy, the main character, is a mountain bike ready to be the leader when the gasoline engine comes to disturb the city. Oh fuck. Speedy and his friends, Pinion, Gassy, and Montana, will fight against the annoying artifact to keep Spokesville clean. And it pretty much tells you absolutely nothing about what this film is about. Not what it's really about, which is the rise of this main character named Speedy, who likes to race, becomes the hero of town, and at his core is kind of an asshole. This movie is so convoluted and strange that I'm gonna do my best to make this make sense. But if it doesn't, don't blame me. That's just business, baby. So why don't we just check out the opening sequence of this film? The movie opens up on a wonderful intro sequence. It shows amazing sweeping shots of the town of Spokesville. You see all the beautiful places they live in there. Wait, what the fuck is that? Are those apartment buildings? Are those petals? Those are apartment buildings made out of petals. So you're telling me that the buildings in this town are designed after their body parts? That's like making a building that looks like a foot. I suppose you could argue, oh, Ted, how else are you going to know that they're in the bikes world? Cars doesn't do this. They just make a bunch of buildings that are accessible to cars. Some of these buildings are topped with, like, bike chains. Wouldn't the chains of a bike be, like, the intestines or something? That's pretty strange. That's pretty weird. We meet the main character, Speedy, whose character model is honestly terrifying. I have no idea why they decided to design the main character, the person we see the most, this way. All of the other bikes make sense, I guess. I mean, some of them have, like, lips, but not Speedy. Oh no, he's just a piece of plastic with dentures. So Speedy's a mail bike, so we start off with him going on his mail run, taking over from his old and withered, dumb grandpa.
Take care of Gramps, okay, Spruck?
Don't worry about us so much. Worry about being on time.
He's totally reckless. He's causing traffic issues around town. He's basically a total nuisance. He's an ass. Speedy basically blows through an intersection and causes a 4-bike collision right in front of a police officer. This is less than 5 minutes into the film. If this doesn't tell you enough about who this character is as a person, I don't know what will. He has no sense of guilt. I wouldn't be surprised if Speedy's killed another bike. I would not be surprised. Speedy thinks he can do whatever he wants because he's fast. Hey Speedy, newsflash. Being fast isn't a personality, you fool. My next issue is how strangely they introduce the characters in this film. There's these two evil bank bike characters. How do you know they're evil, Ted? Oh, I don't know.
Soon it will be ours.
That's his first line. They introduce Montana, who is very clearly the love interest in this film. How can you tell, Ted?
Speedy.
Hi, Montana.
I was just thinking about you, Speedy.
Based on the fact that she has the most luscious lips of any bike in this film. And also, she's pink. And I don't know if you guys know this, but pink, that's the girl color. Then the mayor shows up, and the strangest interaction I've ever seen happens.
Hi, Montana. My wheels are burning.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor? And your dad, too.
Not during working hours.
Wait. He shows up, she calls him Mr. Mayor, and then he says,
And your dad, too.
and then she says, not during working hours. What is that even supposed to mean? Are you telling me that Montana insists that when her father is working, that she only calls him Mr. Mayor? She is literally forcing herself to distinguish between her father not working and her father when he's working. Later on, she messes this up too, as if it matters to anyone.
That's what I wanted to tell you, Speedy. The mayor is...
If the mayor is correcting her to say he's her dad, then where is this pressure to call him the mayor even coming from? One of my next issues is how Speedy delivers the mail. Let me just put this simply and try not to scare you guys. But basically, he's got a fucking hand. Yes, the movie about bikes, living as bikes, one of them has a hand. They could not easily figure out the part where he delivers the mail. So when he goes around and he has to drop off a package, boom! A fucking hand comes out of the bag. This is probably one of the creepiest things I've ever seen. And it also raises some huge issues. If this bike has a hand, wouldn't that create some serious issues on how opposable thumbs would affect society? Are we not going to address the opposable thumbs? This would seriously create some inequality. Like, for real. Like when a bike can swing an axe at another, there would be war. For some reason, Speedy has a mentor. I don't really know why. I think he's supposed to be the Mr. Miyagi of the film. Oh, and also, he has two hands. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, Tan!
Quiet, son. It's Numachi time. My package just arrived?
No.
What brings you here then, Speedy?
I need your advice, Chan.
No packages, no advice.
But Chan!
I joke, son.
It's just a bike with arms. This means that there are two bikes in this society that have hands. Everyone else doesn't, and it's not addressed, and nobody talks about it. Basically what happens is they welcome back an old hero to the town named Rock Bikerson.
Wow. Rock is going to love this.
Rock? Rock Bikerson in Spooksville?
That's what I wanted to tell you, Speedy. The mayor is going to give Rock the key to the city tomorrow.
If someone deserves the key, it's him.
I don't really know why he's a hero, other than the fact that, he's just a fast bike. Who you know from the get-go is the antagonist of the film, based on the fact that they gave him a face with evil man facial hair. He's got, a human face.
It is I, Rock, your local hero.
He's literally just the Chad of bikes. Hey Manuel, how are we gonna get across that this bike is like the evil? Why don't we give him a face? His name is fucking Rock. They named him Rock. Essentially what happens next is this Rock Bikerson character, in cohorts with the evil bank bikes, introduce the gas motor to society.
Powered by the magic fluid coming from the center of the earth, I present to you the tool that will allow you to be almost as fast as me. The gas motor!
And then when the town members are kind of suspicious about it, Speedy's just like, it's fine. He's Rock, the totally not evil character.
Bikes. This is Rock, our local hero, a triumphant bike-sit-in. I'm sure Rock has all the answers.
Speedy's like, come on, give him a break. He's Rock Bikerson, come on. Bing bong, the whole town's got gas motors now, and it's creating environmental disaster. That's cool. You can tell because it's making the bikes cough. Yes, the bikes cough, meaning that they have a system of breathing. Let me break this down Barney style for you. They are bikes, and they run on mechanical parts, but they also need to breathe, meaning that they have lungs in their bike bodies. Let me save you some time, I'll give you a rundown on what happens, basically. Speedy and his friends figure out that it's Rock, and he's causing environmental disaster. Who would have thought that Rock, who by the way has hired secret police to literally send people who can't pay for gas to jail.
You are not up to date with your payments, dear bike citizen. Therefore, you cannot fill up on gas.
I do not have that kind of money.
You can always pay the company by working in the gas tank cleaning department.
Oh no.
Or there's always another possibility. Prison bikes.
Bike shed?
Then send Speedy and his friends to jail. And then this is when shit gets even stranger. And it's also when Speedy ends up being kind of an asshole. So basically they're all in jail and everyone's down in the dumps. And then Speedy says like the rudest thing I've ever heard.
Speedy, I never thought you would give up.
I'm sorry, give me a second.
Like, what was that tone?
I'm sorry, give me a second.
That did not come off as if you were saying, I'm sorry, give me a second. That came off as you saying, hey Montana, can you shut the fuck up? She's just trying to make conversation and you're just being an ass. So you're probably asking yourself, Ted, how are they going to get out of bike jail? How are these bikes going to escape from bike jail? Oh yeah, you remember that old stereotypical Chinese Mr. Miyagi bike? Yeah, the one with hands? Yeah, well he's also got explosives and munitions.
Yes, perfect.
He also has a laptop. In a society when the gas motor was literally just introduced. And then he shoots the rocket and it's a Black Ops team of the bike pumps. Oh, so they sent in a team to get him out of jail. That's smart. They must just steal a key from the guards, right?
That would be too easy.
They take the inner tires of all of the bikes and then steal the entire jail cell by breaking a balloon through concrete and flying away. And then later on, Speedy says that it was a perfect plan.
It was a perfect plan.
What about that was perfect in the slightest? You just absolutely destroyed public property in the process of that plan. You could have just snuck out. Oh, by the way, we also find out that the Mentor bike invented the gas motor and didn't tell anyone about it up until now. They basically put all of these very specific legal reasons against Rock for why he should go to jail.
What is the jail time for fraud?
Adding the tampering and illegal usage of the pipelines and aqueducts of Spokesville.
And the production and use of false advertising.
And then for some reason the mayor decides to just settle it with a race between the two of them.
I hereby authorize the city race.
In the race between Rock and Speedy, Speedy gets a flat tire because of a bunch of spikes in the road. But then the bike pump guys come and they pump his wheels back up, completely negating the fact that he has holes in his tire, and he's fine. And the film goes on, and he wins the race. Speedy beats Rock in the race, he tries to cheat the whole time, and he cries like a baby idiot dumbass. And then everything is totally fine at the end, I guess. The final line between Montana and Speedy just leads me to believe that these two are just going to get married, and then they're going to have so many issues because they have nothing in common, and they're going to get divorced in a year.
How does it feel being Spokesville's #1?
It's not about being #1, Montana.
Oh, my Speedy.
What kind of fucking interaction was that? She comes up, she tries to congratulate you, and then you're just like,
It's not about being #1, Montana.
dude, fuck you. What a dick. Is that not the #1 rudest thing you could respond with? Overall, though, I think that we can enjoy this piece of cinema for what it is. A beautiful piece of work that really just tells a touching tale about, you know, don't make the gas motor. Just stick to laptops and munitions. So yeah, that was Bikes. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to look at other weird movies in the future. If I had to give this movie a rating, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It was actually a perfect movie.